Hey guys, this is Dark Arbiter here, and this replay is QXC versus Idra on Metalopolis, and it was part of the Intel Extreme Masters V, as in 5 finals, I do believe. I think this is game 1 of a best of 3. So at the bottom we have QXC spawning as the Red Terran. And at the top we have Idra spawning as the Blue Zerg. Now I know Idra is an extremely good player, so this will be an interesting match. Also quite like QXC's style as well. QXC tends to have some in-game chat going on here. I mean, who plays StarCraft with avatar glasses though, I must say. I know Idra seems to come across as generally a rude and quite impatient player, so I guess as that combo kind of just showed. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, QXC seems to have very tight overall play, while Idra seems to be very good at macro and just know when he's safe and can build drones. Like this guy just drones up heaps. We have Idra going for a 15 hatch, which is pretty standard for, well, pretty much all Zerg openings, especially ZVT anyway. Maybe not so much Zerg versus Zerg, because that leaves you a bit open to early aggression depending on the map. I think Metalopolis is a fairly balanced map. Like the attack paths are fairly open, and you can do a fair bit of surrounding and flanking and stuff. And also the third is not too hard to grab for Zerg. Like over here, it's a fairly nice defensive position, though it seems that QXC is going for an early bunker. I know that Idra hates cheese, and every time that I've seen Idra play, he's done a fairly good job of countering any cheese, so he should be just fine. Just taking a look at the Idra cam, and well, looks like QXC is far more focused on that early aggression than denying his opponent any information, because Idra pretty much sees all the buildings QXC apart from the supply depots. And there's some fairly nice marine micro going on from QXC here, where he beat an equal sized force of Zerglings. I guess isn't that impressive, but still. Looks like, as I predicted, Idra is going to shut down that early aggression. And I think that would definitely put Idra ahead, although he did need to make a few Zerglings. QXC didn't really lose all that much. Sorry, although Idra did need to make a few Zerglings, QXC is now definitely on the back foot, and he's lost a fair few Marines, while Idra's free to possibly do some aggression, although it doesn't look like it, or just drone up like his usual style. Looks like QXC is going for an expansion though, because he knows at the moment Idra, doesn't have roaches or anything, so he's not really in a position to attack QXC. Let's have a look at the QXC cam. Oops, sorry. And let's have a look at the income tab. Idra is ahead, but that's sort of to be expected. And once Red has his expansion, he'll have 2 sets of mules, and it'll be fairly even. Although for those who don't play StarCraft too much, generally as Zerg you want to have at least one more base than your opponent. So with QXC getting this base, Idra will need to grab another base or 2 if he doesn't finish the game early on, that is. So it looks like Idra, well honestly I'm not sure whether that's those banelings, that baneling nest is for defensive banelings or offensive banelings, although I don't really think offensive banelings work in this current position. A reasonable scan going down, but doesn't really reveal all that much, apart from a baneling nest, which is pretty normal in ZBT anyway. So let's see what kind of build QXC is going for. Looks like possibly some kind of mech build, because normally you don't get 2 factories, I don't believe. Although this could just be to get the blue flame and lots of Hellions at the same time, and I really don't think Idra is prepared for this, because he does not have a Roach Warren, I believe, and blue flame Hellions absolutely destroy Zerglings, and to a lesser extent banelings, depending on whether it's on the creep or not. Certainly if it's off creep and they're well microed, Hellions can definitely eat banelings as well. And I think the QXC is in quite a good position. Although I'd put Idra as a better player, I'm not really tipping Idra right this second, considering that there are 5 or 6 banelings coming to make life a bit of misery. Let's see just how much damage Hellions do. That's a fairly nice surround with the Zerglings, and he may have just saved himself a lot of harass. Idra may have just saved himself a lot of harass. Yep, looks like the Idra's base will do okay and not lose too much stuff. Like, I think he lost about 12 Zerglings, which is fairly alright, considering that he denied QXC the harass potential. Although QXC's switching up into techs, into siege tanks, which I guess is fairly standard, so he's just going for a siege tank marine mix. Although Idra does have a fair number of mutualists and banelings and Zerglings compared to the size. So compared to the size of QXC's force, QXC's in a bit of trouble. Sorry, that made no sense. I just meant that Idra looks like he's got a fair bit bigger army. Have a look at the army tab, and Idra is indeed up 20 or so supply, with QXC not really being prepared for those mutualists, because missile turrets really aren't actually up yet. Like, there's one that's just about to be up, but Idra could... Okay, 2, sorry. I was going to say Idra may be able to just snipe that one, but as someone said, missile turrets do a lot more damage in StarCraft 2. Like, you need to lose quite a lot of mutualists just to kill a single one, and Idra only has 7, only had 7 at that time, so he'd probably lose like 4 of them. Now he's up to 10 or so though, so this will be a much better force to pick off various troops of QXCs. And unfortunately QXC's base is not fully defended either, like that reactor may end up dying. Though QXC is fairly on top of his game with the Marines. Like, they seem to be covering absolutely everywhere that the mutualists want to harass. Like here, here, here and here are all covered by mutualists really. All covered by Marines really. So QXC will just be able to stem and take some shots at the mutualists anytime that they want to come and make some trouble. Still though, this does give Idra the map control he needs to be able to secure a 4th and possibly the gold. Like, I'm guessing that'll be his next step. Let's have a look at the army tab. Idra is up 30 supply, although bear in mind that a 200 supply Zerg army just is not as good as a 200 supply Terran army. Although no doubt after each conflict Idra will be able to get his units back a lot faster. Got some upgrades coming out for the Terran, like Terran infantry weapons level 2, which will no doubt be important, and 3 missile turrets are going up as well. Sorry, I misread that as 13 for a second. So I guess QXC is quite worried about mutualist harass, which could mean that QXC is getting ready to move out, because he wants to move out with all his forces if he's going to, which will leave none behind to defend. Though Idra does have a fair number of banelings, so with proper micro, Idra should be able to win. Looks like Idra's going in and just trying to kill the missile turrets despite a lot of repairing SCVs. And I think he may have lost 2 or so mutualists, but QXC lost a few harvesters as well. So that wasn't really an even trade, but still, often the point of harass is just to keep your opponent worrying and in his base. And I'm kind of surprised that Idra hasn't taken the gold. He's about to, because Idra he's taken this base as well, so he's on quite a lot of bases at the moment, which will give him enough resources to replenish his army whenever it dies, since Idra's pretty much maxed at the moment. So it looks like Idra's thinking about going for an attack, and that number of Marines really is not going to be enough to take on all the banelings, even with quite a few tanks. Well, I notice QXC is getting some Thors as well, which fairly effective versus mutualists when there's at least a couple of them. So that stops the mutualists coming in and giving support really. But overall I think Idra came out ahead of that engagement, possibly both in units lost and just in general, because he's got so many bases while the Terran player is kind of just stuck on the 3, and it's going to be extremely difficult to either take the gold or either of these two. Idra is coming in for a poke with his mutualists, and it looks like there is indeed a gap down there, although Idra may not know it. And Idra is just coming in to destroy a whole lot of supply depots, which may be a real annoyance. Wondering if those 2 supply depots do actually end up going down. No, they are barely saved. I think Idra... oh, never mind. I was going to say he definitely could have killed those 2 supply depots, but a lot of these mutualists are low on health, so you really don't want to waste them, because they are 100 minerals, 100 gas, and more importantly 100 gas, so they're not too easy to replace, and they are an important tool for keeping your opponent in his base. I'm not too sure about the 2 armies colliding though, because there are 3 Thors now with weapons level 1, and the Marines have 2-2, and none of these units are especially good versus Thors. Like, Zerglings can be if they get us around, but excuse my computer lagging, like it doesn't normally lag in these sort of battles actually. Maybe I need to turn down the graphics settings just for video capture, though I hope that wasn't too bad. Idra's bringing in Broodlords, which I think will finish things off. As I said, I think Idra's a better player overall, and QXC hasn't been able to stop Idra taking essentially as many bases as he wants. And it looks like Idra's just about to take the match, because I'm wondering where all this supposed army of Regs is. Maybe it's all on SCVs. Because yeah, QXC's base is just totally getting destroyed, and QXC has no units, so I guess he just got starved out. Because you know, you just can't keep up with this many bases of production, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mining bases versus about 2 mining bases, or like 1.5. You know, your armies will collide, and the person with less bases will just die because they can't rebuild their army. They just don't have enough money.